What is up, guys, and welcome to episode 18 of the Dad's Life Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Flag 2.0. And in today's episode, we're going to bounce a little bit off of episode 17 about time is fleeting. So go ahead, and if you haven't gave that episode a listen, go ahead and check back episode 17. Basically, going to talk about a little bit of a dad situation I came into. I had like this dad epiphany, which was a little sad, but again, it goes into that time is fleeting thing, has to do with my teenager. So right before we get into the episode, I want to say thank you for taking your time out to listen to this week's episode. Always, I'm heavily on Twitter nowadays. So, I think since the beginning of this till now, with the help of everybody and all the support that I got on Twitter or I'm getting on Twitter, there's been almost 150 to 180 more people following me on Twitter. So I want to say thank you to all those new folks that are following me on Twitter. And all the support and all that stuff from the Twitter community, the Dad's Life community, the Mom's Life community out there that's been, tagging me in different posts. And again, I'd like to say thank you. This is your first time checking out the podcast. Again, thank you for checking out the podcast as well. Big shout out for that. And, again, welcome to anybody that's new to the podcast. So again, just like what I said earlier, talking about time is fleeting, I just had this interaction with my son. He's an 8th grader. He's going into high school, and I'm excited for him. There's a bunch of cool things going on at the end of the year. And I remember growing up, I didn't get to go to all those fun things. So, we're talking about all the end of the year stuff. And, he has like a dance, a field trip, and he has 8th grade promotion. He has a couple other things as well. And so I'm like really excited for him to go to everything. I was like, okay, how much do we got to pay for it? When does the money due? And, one of the things that I said, I was like, I'm excited for you to go to your 8th grade dance. It's the last dance of the year. And, he was super juiced, okay, yeah, and then, basically I leave the room after we get talking to it, and he tells the wife that he really doesn't want to go to that dance. And so I get word, and I'm like, well, so I talk to him and say, so how come you just didn't tell me you didn't want to go to that dance? We've been talking about it. And he says, well, you were so excited for wanting me to go to that dance. I was going to go because you wanted me to go. And to me, that kind of hit me like, you know what? He's not me. He's like a mini me, but, I'm putting a lot of my expectations or, a lot of the things I felt I missed out on him. And I want to make sure he doesn't miss out, not really realizing if that's something he really wants to do or not. So, I ran into this whole little epiphany that, he is getting older and he is his own person. Like before, it was just me and him. And if I did it, he did it. And now that he's obviously, going to be going into high school now, it's not like that anymore. And him being my oldest kid, like it's the first time I've ever experienced something like that before. So, yeah, time is fleeting. Just piggybacking off of the last episode, it's you gotta take advantage of it, of the little time that you have. Like I try to be a big family man, and I don't try to work too much overtime just because I don't want to miss anything with the kids. Even though eye on the prize, make money, kind of better my financial situation or better our financial situation. But at the same time, I don't want to miss anything that they're getting into. And with the oldest going into high school, I'm having those epiphanies like, wow, he's not the little boy anymore. He's this young man, and he has his own wants, and he has his own, goals and things he wants to do. And as a parent, that's kind of like, for me anyway, it's a little hard to swallow. Like, man, he's getting older. And, as time goes on, he's obviously going to want to spend less and less time with me. And I think it's sad because I love that guy. You know what I'm saying? That's my number one guy. So anyway, I just kind of bring this up, to kind of get a little bit of advice from, maybe some of you that are parents of teens that may have some insight on this, on like how to deal with it, or how did you deal with it when, you start seeing your, your preteen, teen kind of transition into this, young adult that kind of wants to start doing their own thing, and there's no longer really like a mini you. They're just, a young version of themselves. So it's going to be interesting, again, it's, the show's about, the experiences of being a parent, specifically from the dad's point of view. And he is my oldest son, and it's going to happen again with my youngest son, and of course, obviously with my daughter. But, how did you guys deal with that? Or, did you guys have that, that moment of, oh my God, they're not little anymore. So yeah, leave me a comment, do what you guys normally do. Hit me up on Twitter for stuff like that. Let me know. So that was one of the main things that's kind of been happening with the dad life. Now I'm going to start a section called Dadvice. So it's like advice, but from the dad. So in this next topic, I'm actually going to be talking about boating. And, with summer coming up, if you follow me on, Facebook or, Twitter, first of all, thank you for that. And then, I posted up an article today that talked about drowning. And drowning doesn't look like drowning, I think was the title. And, as summer comes up, I wanted to make sure, I'm a boat owner. If you want to know what type of boat I have, check out the blog at SeanFlack.com. I have a blog review. It's a Yamaha AR190. It's a 19-footer jet engine boat. Have my full review there. There's a video of me going tubing for the first time there. Check that out if you're kind of interested about the boat that we have. But I'm, kind of going into water safety and things like that. If you guys are getting out on the water, spending time at the lake or whatever, I did post an article on Twitter and also on Facebook, and I'll also leave a link of it down in the show notes descriptions if you guys want to check it out. But it talks about drowning and, a little bit of background between me and the Wicked Wahine. I'm not the water person. Like, I don't jet ski or boat or paddleboard or nothing. That's all her. So she kind of introduced that into my life. So with that, a couple outings that we had, I basically drowned twice. She had to come save me. And I kind of want to share my story and then, of course, direct you guys to that because it was very scary for me. And I was drowning and didn't even know I was drowning. And this article actually touches up on that type of drowning. So just to share my story, one of our first outings or out-of-town outings, we went to South Lake Tahoe. We're in California, San Francisco Bay Area. So South Lake Tahoe is maybe 3.5-4 hour drive. So we went up there during the summertime, spent, the night or 2 nights or whatever it was up there. And one day we did the jet skis, and the second day we did stand-up paddleboard. So, number one, I'm not the water guy. Don't do jet skis. I'm out there real nervous, got my life vest on. The jet ski incident, things, that wasn't that bad. It was the paddleboarding that we did the second day. Again, I've never paddleboarded. This is the first time I paddleboard it, and we rented the paddleboards, and the paddleboard did not have a tether that I got, and the waves, the water was a little rocky, but anyway, it was my first time trying to stand up on a paddleboard, and it was a pretty bad experience. The first time I fell, a paddleboard flew like maybe 10, 15 feet away, and I'm not a strong swimmer, and I'm a plus size model, so I wasn't wearing the right size life jacket, and not a strong, you put me in a pool, I'm an okay swimmer. I can see the bottom, things like that. You put me in a lake or the ocean, I'm gonna, sink like a rock. So in this particular instance, my wife, she's, girlfriend at the time, but, she's like, "You okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I got my life jacket on." Well, my life jacket was a wrong size and it was choking me, but it was keeping me afloat, but it was like choking me. And, so she was like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay." not knowing that I'm starting to panic and all this stuff. But my wife went to go get my paddleboard because it went, and she went to go get my paddleboard, and by the time she came back, I was already in a panic, and I couldn't breathe. The life vest was choking me out, and so she kind of had to come on over, and I can't remember if she actually got in the water or did she paddleboard next to me so that I could hold on to her paddleboard. And I didn't even get up on the paddleboard that time, but I couldn't speak. I couldn't speak. I was having a hard time breathing, even though my head was above water. But so she had to come save me in that instance. Whatever, kind of let that go. And then maybe the following summer, the family went out to the lake and rented a pontoon boat. And again, I'm not the strongest swimmer or anything like that. And, I tried to, the rental had some life jackets. I tried to get the one that fit me the best. So anyway, I jump in the water with my life vest on. And I go further than I thought. I didn't bring up enough air. So anyway, I go down and I come up, and now I'm already in a panic. And my wife's still on the pontoon boat, and she's looking at me, and she says, "Are you okay?" And, I can't talk, and I'm having a hard time breathing. She's looking at me, and mind you, I'm not flailing. I'm not, asking for help. I'm literally sitting there looking at her with a blank stare, and I can't speak because my body went into shock, and it's trying to breathe, even though, again, my head was above water. I was having a hard time breathing. She asked me if I was okay twice, and then she jumped in like, Pamela Anderson, in Baywatch. She came to me, she swam to me, and she picked me up, like, treaded water under me and held my whole body above water. And at that point, that's when I started breathing again. Even though my head was above water, I was drowning. It didn't look like I was drowning. She looked at me and saw my blank stare, was identifying that I was drowning, even though I wasn't flailing, even though the family was around the pontoon boat, but nobody knew I was drowning until she looked at me, because she knew we had an incident before about me in lakes, and she was able to identify me drowning, and she had to come save me. Ever since that incident, my mother-in-law went out and bought me my own personalized life jacket, the one that fit. It made sure I was comfortable in it. If you see pictures of the boat, posted on Twitter or whatever, you'll always see me wearing a blue life vest. And that was a life vest that my mother-in-law bought me after that particular incident. So I say this to say that I've experienced what this article is about, and I want you guys to take the 2 minutes to read it if you're going to go out on the water, because it was very sad, and it kind of goes into this whole dadvice, realm or segment, because in the article it states there'll be 700 some odd kids drowning, and out of 300 of them will be less than 10 to 25 feet or whatever from their parents, because their parents can't identify what drowning looks like. So, if you're going to be out there, me being a boat owner, we've already taken the boat out once for the season. Again, we plan on getting the boat out there. I plan on being out there with the kids and all that stuff. But if you're out there, you're boating, you're thinking about renting a boat or out there at the lake or whatever, for your kids, please remain vigilant. Again, those are two scary incidents that I had. I mean, when I was reading the article, I damn near burst into tears because it reminded me of how it felt drowning. And then what my wife had to do, they said if they're in this type of drowning, you have 30 seconds to get to them before they drown. And 30 seconds is not a long time, especially if they're not making any noises or anything like that. So again, me having those two instances, and I read this, and, summertime's coming up, I felt that, and then of course the statistic, 300 out of the 700 or whatever that number was, are going to be very close to their parents, and their parents aren't able to identify what drowning is. That's the dad advice. You're out there with your kids, you're out there with yourself, use the best water safety, know your strengths, how strong of a swimmer you are. If you're out there on the boat, you're out there with the kids, remain vigilant. Don't be so caught up in having so much fun, that's what you're supposed to do out there on the boat, that you do not, keep an eye on your kids. So, that's it for this episode. Just a quick 2 things. I know kind of been sporadic with the episodes. I got to get back to at least, to the once a week intervals. But again, dad life's been beating me up. And if you're in California or you're reading news or watching news on California, we're having some of the worst allergy seasons. And that's just whooping the whole house. The whole house is whooped on because of allergies right now. So anyway, again, I always appreciate all your guys' support. You got any questions, comments, emotional outbursts, emotional support you'd like to give to me or the show, you could do so on Anchor. If you download the Anchor app, you can leave a voice message directly to me. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean Flack. Of course, we also have the Facebook page, Sean Flack 2.0. You can look that up. Join us there. Last but not least, if you want web access to this and all of the projects, so that includes the blog, excuse me, the Practical Pivot Show, some recommendations, this show, and much more, go ahead and head over to SeanFlack.com. You can subscribe to the email list there, or again, periodically check back with the email for updated blogs and things like that. I do got a couple of special things I'm working with my son. He's going to be putting up 2 blogs up there, to kind of give his little perspective on some ADHD stuff, little book reports he had read. And read some books and wrote some reports about it, and so I'm excited to put those up there and share those with you guys out there for any parents of ADHD teens. So yeah, anyway, again, thank you for all the support. Thank you for taking time out to listen to this episode. And as always, I said thank you a gazillion times already, because that's usually what, as always, thank you for watching, taking time out of your schedule, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Peace.